Hey, what's up everyone? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we're looking at the SH Figuarts Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink Ranger. Really nothing new to talk about as far as the Power Ranger stuff goes. It's basically the exact same figure, just made to be a female, and she has some different accessories. And obviously there's some different small features about the figure, such as the skirt and boobies, but otherwise it's pretty much the same as the other Power Ranger figures. She stands... Let's see, she's in scale pretty well, I know that much. She's about just under 5.5 inches tall, so she's really pretty well in scale. The helmet has like a glossy, harder plastic, and then the rest of the outfit is kind of a more flat or matte plastic. And the pinks match pretty well though. As far as accessories go, she comes with this blaster thingy, which I don't think ever got used in the US. I don't know what it's called offhand. Let's see if the package has it. No, what about the directions? There's no direction sheet? Oh, there it is. Let's see if that has it. Let's see. Thunder Slinger. That's right. I remember now. Yeah, so I don't think that was ever in the US, but it seems like it would have been if it's on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers figure. So either way, it comes with it. It's super well detailed. Sculpt and paint. An incredible amount of detail in that, so that's pretty cool. We also have the Blade Blaster, or the Ranger Stick, as I think it was the Armored Red Ranger figure packaging had it called. So there's that. It doesn't open, and there is no plain version of this as a blaster. This piece here, we don't get that, unfortunately, so that's a bit of a bummer. We have the Power Bow. Checking all the official names on these things, I don't remember that far back. It is really well detailed, all the pink piping, all the little detail work, it's all sculpted in there and painted. It really doesn't get any better than that. You might be wondering, what about arrows? She has a hand that has an arrow sculpted on. It's well sculpted and it's well painted, so you can have it look like she's actually shooting that, and I'll show you that later. And then we have interchangeable hands. She has two fists, obviously. Then she has two of these hands, which are just kind of like a small gripping hand for holding the Ranger Stick and the Slinger. Then we have a larger open hand, gripping hand, for the bow. And then we have two just completely open hands, which are just for posing, kind of like a karate chop and a slightly curled finger hand. So that's it for accessories. Not a bad batch, not the best, but definitely not the worst. And so let's look at the figure. As far as articulation goes, the head is on a ball hinge, so a really good range of motion for the head itself. The neck's on a ball peg, so you can pose her head any way you want to make her look like she's in a nice, good, organic pose. She has the same shoulder joints that we've seen before. It's basically a ball hinge with a really unsightly rivet in there. I don't know why they did that. They could have used a standard ball hinge, I think. But either way, it does have this cup piece over it. That's a floating piece. This one doesn't move nearly as much as the male figures, so it doesn't hide the ugliness quite as much, but that does hide it some, and maybe I can loosen that up, I'm not sure. There's a swivel built into that, double jointed elbow. There is a little bit of variation in the pinks there. The elbow's a little brighter than the sleeves. Same on this side. It's not horrible though. The wrist is on a ball hinge, or the hand is on a ball hinge. The wrist is a ball hinge. It swivels at the arm and in the hand and is hinged, so that's pretty good. Torso, ball peg up there. Pretty good range of motion. Not as much swivel as I would like, but leaning forward and back's pretty good. Side to side's pretty good. You'll get most of your swivel, I hope, at the waist. It seems to be fairly limited. I mean, you can get enough of it out of her, obviously, but it is kind of restrictive, more than I would have expected. And it does have a little bit extra torso leaning and rocking side to side in the lower torso as well. Not as much as I would have liked. The belt is not as floaty as the other figures. It seems to be, I don't know, it seems like they didn't engineer this figure quite as well as the male figures. This piece does move, and I assume you can pull it off. I'm not going to pull it off because I don't need to, but it probably unsnaps. The skirt is a softer material, and it's split on both sides, though that split should be underneath. There we go. It's pinker on the back than on the front. The front has kind of a purplish hue. The back is more pink. So it's not perfect, but it's not horrible. And those slits on the sides allow you to pose her more without being too restrictive. And it actually works pretty well. Of course, it's a little unsightly from the sides, but you can get her to do a high kick or something relatively easily. Going forward's a little more limited, but it's not too bad. And that's partly because of the hips. She has a standard SH Figuarts hips, which is a ball peg that is hinged, so you can drop it down to give her better range of motion for a kick, then put it back up for just a regular standing pose. So that swivels around the ball itself, and then she has a thigh swivel on top of that. She has double jointed knees, and then the ankles are just more ball hinges, really. Not quite the exact same design as the wrist, but it's essentially the same thing. It swivels at the top and the bottom and is hinged. Then she has a toe hinge as well. So, you know, it's pretty good standard run-of-the-mill import articulation. I do wish the torso was a little less restrictive, but it's not horrible. And it's definitely a decent figure, and definitely the kind of figure you're going to have if you're collecting the Power Ranger figures, since she's part of the team. Let's put the bow in her hand real quick, and then we'll call it a day. Wow, it's hard to get those hands back on. Careful with that. You don't want to ruin your bow, or I mean your arrow, just because that's a really tight joint. So watch out for that. Alright, so we want that hand on there. Put the bow in her hand. It should be this way, I think. I don't know. Let's see if we can get it in. Wow. That is a tight fit. Come on, get in there. Uh-oh. Alright, so this is a learning lesson, learning experience, you guys. Be careful when you're getting the bow in the hand. That is super tight. Alright, so there we go. I think that's how it goes, probably. And then we can give her a nice pose, like she's actually going to fire it, hopefully. Bend the hand, bend the arm. Come on. Well, something like that. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. I don't want to waste too much of your time. I'll post a picture so you can see what it's like. I don't know. It's pretty cool. I mean, obviously, if you spend the time, you get it to look pretty good. And it does look alright. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. In the meantime, keep collecting.